Mother and Sri Aurobindo, and the children of the mother, Mahatma. The questions I have received, the first question is it necessary to fix certain disciplines in sadhana? If yes, what are they? In Sri Aurobindo Yoga, general disciplines are very few. Self-disciplines are very few. Sri Aurobindo said, in the outside world, there is a mental and social control. Here, you are left alone with your own consciousness and have to replace the mental and outward control by an inner self-control of the spirit. So in Sri Aurobindo Yoga, the general disciplines are very less. Whatever you do sadhana inwardly, that you have to express outwardly through some disciplines that you realize to be, that is self-discipline. In order to materialize the inner realization, you will have to discover what are the outer disciplines required. The outer disciplines for you may be different for others. That is why they are called self-discipline. You yourself decide according to your inner realization. And there are some collective disciplines because our yoga is collective yoga. We form the communes, ashrams, and also collective activities. There, in order to maintain the discipline, we ourselves have to decide, the collective group have to decide what disciplines, minimum disciplines are required for the commune to operate or ashram to run. Any collective organization needs some disciplines. So that those disciplines you have to follow. But the rule is minimum rules, maximum freedom. Because without freedom, spirituality is not possible. So, what are the general disciplines? For all it may be applicable. Mother has said in many places and collective. One is early to sleep and early to wake up. This discipline is for all. Mother says, I would like you to go to bed earlier because when the sun sets, a kind of peace descends on earth and this peace is helpful for sleep. So she is giving reason also why we should go early to bed, because the peace is descending at the early hour of, that is during the time of sunset. So at that time if we sleep, we get that peace. The sleep will be peaceful, sleeping will be peaceful. When the sun rises, a vigorous energy descends on earth and this energy is helpful for work. That is why at that time we should awake to utilize that energy, vigorous energy. When you go to bed late and get up late, you contradict the forces of nature and that is not very wise. So this is the general rule, everybody can follow. But here also you see mother says that I would like, that means he is not imposing. That is the beauty of Sri Aurobindo Yoga. And that is also giving the opportunity to not to be sincere also. Because mother has given so many concessions. We use according to our own impulses and saying that we are free. So we must be sincere in this yoga. Otherwise, the freedom will be taken as a license. First. Second discipline is eating food according to the need, not out of greed. That is applicable for all. What food you should eat, what food you should not eat, that is not important. Though mother says vegetables are good as compared to the non-vegetables. But sometimes non-vegetarian is also required. Mother said to Satpren that if nerves are very weak, you have to take non-vegetarian food. But whole thing is that food has to be taken according to the need of the body, not out of greed. Sri Aurobindo says, for food, it is a need of the body, and you must use it to keep the body fit and strong. You must replace the attachment by the ananda of food. There is a rasa of the food. If you find the rasa of the food, then the external taste of the food, that is called attachment or greed, that will fall away. So we must find out the rasa of every food. There is a beautiful rasa in food. That if you find out, then the attachment towards the forms of the food, different forms of food, will fall away. If you have the ananda and the right sense of the taste, etc., and of the right use of the food, the attachment, if there is any, will fall of itself after a time disappear. So this general rule we should follow, because that will be good for our body, make it fit for transformation. Third general discipline is practice to tell the truth always and to speak as minimum as necessary. We generally, if we get time, we speak a lot. The inward journey will be blocked by that. The mother said, to know how to tell the true thing, let it be brief and to the point, and talk as little as possible. It is a big step in sadhana. It is a big step because it is not easy. Because the divine has given us only to the human beings to speak now. And unfortunately, human beings have misutilized this faculty. In spite of the popular saying that it is not always good to tell the truth, I affirm, his mother says, I affirm that it is always good to tell the truth, but that the art consists in telling in such a way so as to make it accessible to the mind of the hearer. You should not confuse by telling the truth. To whom you are saying, it should be so clear and precise, he should understand. But it is always good to speak truth. And Sri Aurobindo says, that is the first step for the truthful life. Speaking of truth is the first step for the truthful life. Second step is to speak in harmony with the deepest truth of which one is conscious. We are doing sadhana and we know the deepest truth. Because of practical situations we speak lies. But we know it should not be told. practical compulsions we say. Mother says at any cost you should not. At best you can remain silent if you don't want to speak the truth. But never tell lie. To Aurobillians, Mother said, those who tell lie, I cannot work with them. That is the greatest punishment for us. If Mother will not work with us, then what is the meaning of this life? So Mother says, those who tell lie, I cannot work with them. So at any cost we have to speak truth. But we should speak truth in such a way that everybody should understand. These are the minimum general disciplines you have to follow. Then about self-discipline, Sri Aurobindo says, inner experiences are helpful to the mind and higher vital. Inner experiences are helpful for the mind and higher vital. But what about the lower vital and physical? But for the lower vital and the outer being, the sadhana of self-discipline is indispensable. So, inner experiences are needed for the mind and higher vital, and self-disciplines are necessary for the lower vital and outer being. But the self-discipline must be based on the inner experiences. It will just give the form of inner experiences. One has to perceive that what one should and what one should not do from the inner experiences. From the inner experiences you will know what should be done and what should not be done. And he has to give the practical form. He has to give. Every person has have their own way. But that must adhere to their inner experiences. And impose the discipline on oneself. If you have the inner experiences, if you keep your inner experiences without applying in the outer being, outer activities, the external being will not be transformed. It was okay for the old yogas because they wanted to leave the body. For them, external things are not so much necessary. But for us, it is indispensable. Observe yourself so that nothing passes without being conscious of it. Whatever activities you are doing, you should not say, how I have done, I don't know. Many people say, I don't know. Somehow I have done it. No. Everything must pass through your consciousness. You must be aware what you are doing. You are responsible for each of your activities. Do not allow yourself to be moved by the forces of nature without your inner consent. Your nature says, I want to eat this, I want to go film, so many things. But without your inner consent, you don't. That is self-discipline. We never ask our inner consent because we know that it will not allow. So we just do. Thereafter we say, oh, it would have been better if I had stopped it. By your constant self-dedication and self-discipline, the force will be brought down into the internal being and the change made. So by this constant self-discipline, the higher force will change our nature. That is why self-discipline is very much important. And as far as collective discipline is concerned, Mother says that until a group consciousness appears, a group consciousness will appear, that is soul of the institution. Just like we have a soul of the individual, we have the soul of India. Similarly, we will have the soul of communes. We have the soul of ashram. We have the soul of Aurobindo. So there will be a soul of everything. Till that is formed, we must have a hierarchical organization group around the most enlightened centers. That means among ourselves, there will be some enlightened person. They should lead the institution. And based upon their inspiration, some disciplines have to be framed out. Everybody should follow that. It is not the democratic principle generally done in Parliament. When something is to be done, we are asking everybody. Somebody is ignorant, he will say something. Someone is illumined person, he will say something. And ignorant persons, if they are more, then that will be taken into account. So ultimately a wrong decision is taken. Not like that. Everybody should give priority to the illumined persons. And their decisions should be given importance. It is not the democratic principle. But who will decide who is illumined person? Nobody will decide. If a person is illumined, naturally he will have that magnetic vibration. Everybody will feel. So he has to establish himself through his personality. And everybody will recognize. It is not through voting that, oh, he will be the illumined person, or he is doing sadhana. Not like that. The persons who are really doing sadhana, they will have the personality that will radiate among others. They will feel, oh, we should listen to him. Second question is, what are the ways and methods to know the divine will? There are 4 conditions for knowing the divine will. There are 4 conditions for knowing the divine will. One is absolute sincerity. Second is overcoming the desires, preferences and ego. Third is silent listening mind. Fourth is strength and firmness to obey the divine will. We generally lose it up, oh, this is the divine will, that is not like that. You have to fulfill these 4 conditions. Then only you will know what the divine will is. First is absolute sincerity. Second is overcoming the desires, preferences and ego. Third is silent listening mind. Fourth is strength and firmness to obey the divine will. First one is absolute sincerity. Sri Aurobindo was asked, what is absolute sincerity? Sri Aurobindo says, no pretense with oneself. Mother says, man deceives himself in 1,000 ways. He knows what is to be done, what is required, but he does just opposite to fulfill his desires, preferences, always. That means he is not sincere. He deceives himself. Within the core of heart, he knows what is to be done, but he never does it. He always tries to fulfill his desires, preferences, ambitions, his preconceived ideas. And second one, he says, no concealment from the divine. You should not hide yourself from the divine. That also we do. We go to the divine and say that you change these persons, they are bad, that this area is bad, that these people are bad. What about you? I am the only person. I am the only person who is very good. Nobody understands. Is it not? So we hide ourselves. Mother says that when you go to the divine, you go to the divine just like a simple child. You present yourself as you are. She will take you and change you. If you go in front of her as a sadhu, there is no question of change. You will remain like as you are, always. A straight look at one's nature and movements. You have to see your nature and movements straightly. And with a straight will, make them straight. With a straight will, make them straight. This is called absolute sincerity. Sri Aurobindo says. Then, overcoming the desires, preferences and ego. Why? Mother says, if not, you will mistake God's will for your own limited ideas and principles. Whatever ideas you have, principles you have, you will mistake them as the divine. Whatever your desires are coming to you, you feel that, oh, it must be divine is wanting. Whatever differences, whatever ideas, all these are coming in front of you and you interpret them as divine. So unless and until you overcome the desires and preferences and ego will color the divine will in their own way. They will color it, the divine will in their own way. So that you have to do. Third one is silent listening mind. Because the divine voice does not make itself heard with any authority. Authoritative voice here, it has no authoritative voice. It expresses silently through psychic. The divine will expresses silently through psychic. Unless mind is silent, that is called silent listening mind. It will listen silently. What the divine will is speaking through psychic, the mind will listen if it is silent. Otherwise it will not listen. It will not know the divine. Because divine will is not authoritative. It is soothing, slow and speaks through psychic. Fourth one is strength and firmness to obey the divine will. Why? Why the strength is needed? Let the divine will like, I know first, then the strength I will develop. No. You must develop the strength first, then only divine will come to you. You must be capable of making it real. You have to obey the divine will. Why? The mother said, for spiritual life, it is better to act in ignorance than to act in disobedience of the divine will. Once you know the divine will, you have no option, you have to obey. If you don't know, you are allowed. That is better. That is why she says, for the spiritual life, it is better to act in ignorance than to act in disobedience to the divine. It is for those who are perfectly and totally surrendered, as it cannot be discussed and disobeyed. It is only for those who are perfectly and totally surrendered, because divine will cannot be discussed in the seminar. Divine will propose and you will say how it would be if it can be like this or it can be like that. No, divine will cannot be discussed and disobeyed. If disobeyed, what will happen? If disobeyed, it will automatically lead to a catastrophe. Because it is a power has come to you, you have to use rightly, otherwise it will create a catastrophe. So, to know the divine will, unless you have the capacity to obey, unless you have the strength to obey, it is better not to know divine will. Otherwise, you are the responsible for catastrophes. Another question is, divine is an abstract and supraphysical thing. How is it possible to concentrate on abstract and supraphysical thing? Sri Aurobindo says, divine is a being, not an abstract existence. Divine is a being, not an abstract existence. It is only the physical mind that thinks of God and Spirit as an abstract conception. Because 99% of people are living with a physical mind, that is why God appears to be abstract. We all are living in the physical mind. That is why God appears to be abstract. Otherwise, divine is more concrete than the so-called concrete things. The so-called real things are only the shadow and forms of the divine, which we call so much real. They are nothing but the shadow and forms of the divine. Actual reality is the divine. For us, nature is real. Nature's laws are real. But behind the nature, the divine is operating the nature we don't see. Because we are in the physical mind. Just like there is a story. Once upon a time, 2 cockroaches were living in an unused house. A ray of sunlight entering house through a hole of the roof was enough for them to survive. A ray of light was entering through the roof. That was enough for their survival. 2 cockroaches were there. One day what happened? 2 men opened the door and entered into the room, and they discussed about removing the rusted roof. They said that this roof is rusted, let us remove. Here the cockroaches were perplexed that the roof which was providing them the sun rays for their existence would be removed. Where they will get the sun ray? But because they were thinking the roof was giving them sun rays. So if the roof will be removed, they will not get sun. They don't know that sun ray is coming from the sun and it is entering through the roof, and they are getting sun ray directly from the sun through roof. That is obstructed. If the roof is removed, they will get more sun rays. But they have no idea. Similarly, we don't have the idea of the divine sun who is providing everything to us because of the roof of nature. This nature has covered. We are in the room. The roof is nature, and behind nature is the divine. And divine is the reality, but we don't see beyond the nature. Whole sadhana is to go beyond the nature. How to go beyond the nature? As long as you feel that nature's laws are concrete and real, you cannot go beyond. We think that these nature's laws, what science says, are concrete and real. They are not concrete and real. They are provisional, allowed by the divine for some years. That's all. If divine will change the law, then all these laws, physical laws of science and everything will collapse. So as long as you believe that nature's law are complete, it cannot be changed. It is full and final. You cannot overcome the nature. Mother said, we don't want to obey the orders of nature. Orders means the laws of the nature. We don't want to obey the orders of nature because they are only the provisional laws allowed by the divine. In the evolutionary transitory period, divine has allowed. That is not the reality. Now, evolution itself is changing. Evolution 1 is over. So the laws, what we call very much real, so many scientific laws, will no more be operating. Evolution 2 is started. Evolution 1 is Asutoma Satgamaya, Tamosoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityurma Amritamaya. This is evolution 1. We are traveling from Asat to truth, then Tamas to light, then death to immortality. That is the evolution 1. Evolution 2 is truth to truth, higher truth, greater truth. From light to greater life, from light to greater light. There these laws will not be operating. What we call complete and real will not be operating. So only for those who believe the nature is only a transitory necessity of the evolution. They belong to the evolution 1, not evolution 2. Then only they will discover the divine. They will know the divine. Otherwise, they will be under the nature. Another question is, what are the methods to maintain good health even in the old age so as to withstand rigorous sadhana of transformation? I have collected some points from Mother's writing. First point is, maintain inner harmony. It is very important. Because Mother says, good health is the exterior expression of inner harmony. Good health is the exterior expression of an inner harmony. So we have to maintain the inner harmony. Inner harmony means ego, likes and dislikes, sense of possession, sense of prestige, creates desire, inner desire, which are very much operative in us. Ego, likes and dislikes, sense of possession, sense of prestige, creates inner desire. So its effect will be illness. We are going to doctor and saying something, those are external stories. But real story is that there is, these things are operating in us. Ego, likes and dislikes, sense of possession, sense of prestige, these all are operating. That creates disharmony, and that disharmony leads to illness. Sri Aurobindo was asked, what is inner harmony? He replied, union with the mother. Simple answer. Union with the mother. If you are united with the mother always, naturally you will have the inner harmony. Contentment, hope, faith, openness, fearlessness, generosity, inner smile, etc. creates inner harmony. So practice this. You will have no illness. As minimum as possible. What are the things? Contentment. Always inner satisfied. Inwardly you are satisfied with what you are. That is contentment. Hope. Always hope for the best. Whatever the situation is now, that is only a transitory thing. It will not last. Faith. Faith means faith in the divine. Faith is a gift of the divine about the future, that everything will be alright. That must be with us, within us. Openness. Openness means whenever divine gives any gift to us, if you are not open, then we will not take the advantage of that. If you are doing sadhana, divine always comes to us with new gifts. If we are not open, then we will not be able to get that. We will not be able to take the advantage of those gifts. Fearlessness. That is very important for good health. Because 90% of our diseases are because of fear. Even corona. Mother said, it is purely out of fear. If you have no fear, down to the cells of the body, you can move around the corona people. It will not touch you. You need not use masks. That will be the mask. Fearlessness. But it must be down to your cells of the body. Then there will be no disease. 90% of our disease is because of fear. Generosity. Generosity means you are not keeping anything given by the divine to yourself. That is generosity. You are ready to share everything to all. That is generosity. And inner smile. Mother says, inner smile means the mother's presence in you. Otherwise you cannot smile. And if mother's presence is within us, naturally there will be a inner harmony. So good health will become spontaneous. In the state of inner harmony, the symptom of inner harmony, Mother says, in the state of inner harmony, no part of the attention is turned towards the body. Our attention is always turned towards the body. I am not feeling okay. Always turned towards the body. Means there is disharmony in my being. The body works perfectly when your attention is not on it. So that is the symptom of inner harmony, when your attention is not turned to the body. Second point, Mother insists, do physical exercises, eat well without greed, sleep well. These are for good health. Do physical exercises, eat well without greed, sleep well. Third point is, participate in sports and outdoor games, move about in the sun. This is third point. Fourth point is, develop faith and receptivity in the body. With your theories and with your negativity, body has lost its faith. It has spontaneous faith for the divine, that it will be alright always. But it has lost its faith because of so many theories pessimistic theories, so many negative influences. It has lost its faith. So we have to build faith by living the body by itself. If body is left to itself, it can heal itself, Mother says. If body is left to itself means it is not possessed by the mind or vital. Generally body is possessed by the mind and vital. With so many theories and so many desires, it is suffering. Body is suffering. So if body is left to itself, it has the power to heal by itself. It can heal by itself. So that is the best way to remain healthy. These are the points I have collected from the mother's writings. Another question is, in the difficult times today, how not to become a victim of depression and its further problems. Depression, we must know what are the causes of depression. Depression arises out of unfulfilled demand of weak vital. That is one reason. If my vital is very weak, and if he wants something but it is not fulfilled, it gets depressed. Another cause is physical fatigue or nerve weakness. This will also create depression. One is our weak vital, if demands are not fulfilled. If our vital is strong, then it will revolt. It will not get depressed. It will revolt just like strikes and everything there. But if vital is weak, it will get depressed. Strong vital rebels when its demands were not fulfilled. And there are some other reasons also. When we think about our weakness again and again, about our own weakness again and again, we get into depression. So never concentrate on your weaknesses. Always concentrate on your possibilities. So we will come out of depression. There is another thing Mother says, some people carry the vibration of depression around them. Some people, they carry the depression around them always. Repeated exposure to them can lead depression to you also. If you mix with those people who are depressed, who always say nothing will happen here, everything will go on like this. So don't mix with those people repeatedly. Slowly you will also start saying that. That is why satsang is important. In satsang means you believe in truth, no? Positive things, divine possibilities, everything. So satsang is that. So don't mix up with the people who carry the vibration, depression vibration. To overcome the depression, we have to be in high thoughts and happily engage in good deeds. This is what Mother said. Two things. Always remain in high thoughts, divine thoughts for us. For us it is easy. Whatever Mother said is a high thought. So we should remain in her sayings. Whatever she said, we should remain in her thoughts. About her sayings, about her work. That will remove the depression. And another thing is, happily engage in good deeds. For us, good deed is Mother's work. There is no confusion. That will remove the depression. And if you remember your depression and tell someone about depression, it will make you worse. I am depressed, yeah. You share the things with your friends and you remember always, it will make you worse. Try to forget your negative things. If the depression is caused due to physical fatigue and nerve weakness, then we need to do proper exercises, good sleep and good dieting. And if fortunately, if psychic comes forward, depression will completely disappear. So till that, we have to apply many methods. Once psychic is coming forward, leading our life, depression will disappear. Another question is, we are the slave of habits. How can we master over our habits? Habits, there are good habits and bad habits. Good habits which are leading us to the mother. Suppose we have the habit to participate in Pathachakras. We have the habit to do what mother has said. These are good habits. Bad habits which are taking away from the mother. These are the definitions. Subconscient supports both, good and bad. And once subconscious support, it takes permanent shape. So try to replace your bad habits with the good. Once it enters into the subconscious, it will become permanent. So do regularly good work, repeatedly, till it reaches subconscious. It enters in. Bad habits we have done since long, since 1,000 years, so many years. That is why it is all stored in subconscious. Good habits are not started yet. That is why in subconscious store there is no good habit. So they have to be replaced. You do so much good work that there will be no place for the bad work in the subconscious. That is the best solution, how to overcome your bad habits. And Namajapa creates divine presence in the subconscious. Namajapa. Once the divine presence is created in the subconscious, you need not try for good habits. Subconscious will make you do the good things. Once subconscious is filled with the divine presence, you will spontaneously do all the good work. So these are the things you should do always Namajapa and try to do good work. Good work means for us that what mother has said. It's good work for us. There is no confusion. Fortunately, we are not confused because everything mother says. Simply we have to follow. This way we can overcome our habits. Environment seems to be full of bad will and negative vibrations. What should be our attitude towards such vibration? The mother was asked about it. Mother said, it is everything that does not want the divine which creates the atmosphere deliberately to discourage those who want the divine. Those who don't want the divine deliberately create such situation to those who want the divine. But mother says, if you don't pay attention to that, they will not touch you. We are paying attention to that. If something is disturbing, so our attention goes to that only. That is where they are successful. Those who are creating negative vibrations, bad will, they are successful because we are giving more attention to that. If somebody is telling good things, we don't give much attention. If somebody is talking nonsense, we are giving much attention. That is the problem. So mother says that don't pay any attention to that. It will not touch you. In the bad vibration you will do divine work nicely. In the negative vibration also you can do divine if you don't pay any attention to that. And mother finally says, grace is omnipotent. It can change everything. So depend on grace. Invoke grace in those situations. Everything will be right in due course. These are the things we have to practice. One is not to pay attention to those who create the atmosphere of bad will and negative vibrations. Second is invoke grace. For grace nothing is impossible. It has the power to change everything. So these two things you have to do. When we have the bad will for others, how to handle it? If you know, it is very easy to handle. Generally those who have bad will, they don't know that they have the bad will for others. If they have the bad will for others, then the natural course is, you must abstain from thinking about a person when you cannot think anything good about him, mother says. If you cannot think anything good about any person, stop thinking. At least. That will practice you can do. If you know that you are having bad will for others, the first thing is don't think about him. Then gain the capacity to think good about him. Pray for him, for his progress, or whoever he may be. He may be the enemy of you. You pray the good for him because that will come to you. Whatever you are thinking about other person, no, it is returning back to you only. It will damage to him provided he is receptive. If he is not receptive, it will not damage him. But definitely it will damage you. Whatever, if good feeling you are towards others, if you have good feelings, that will return to you. If you have bad feelings, it will return to you. So always try to have good feelings towards others. If you cannot, at least stop thinking about others. That is mother says. You must abstain from thinking about a person when you cannot think anything good about him. I think another question. Knowing and understanding the mother and Sri Aurobindo, the need of our is the need of our. What are the ways in which we can help others to turn Sri Aurobindo and the mother? That is spreading of mother's literature to the people, unknown people. That is the best way, mother has said. After that, we will not compel them. Our role is to make them know a great thing is done by the mother and Sri Aurobindo. In simple language, with examples, so that they will understand. After that, they will decide whether they will accept mother and Sri Aurobindo. That is their freedom. But if you know and if you don't spread the things, that means you are selfish. You are selfish. You are enjoying the thing, but you are not selling your things to others. That is the necessity of the present hour. That whole of the public, those who don't know about mother and Sri Aurobindo, how they will get benefit? Yes, there is another way supermind is acting, changing the thing. But what is your role? You must reach to every people, every person, and speak about mother and Sri Aurobindo. Once Taraji went to foreign country, mother said that if you have time, speak about Sri Aurobindo to others. That we must. That is the collective preparation for the whole world. We can accelerate by in that way. So these are the questions I have discussed. If any doubt,